Well, I was looking for that Edelbrock to go on here just to give a demonstration. Most people know what carbs do, but here's the difference between a normal intake. This is a TA Performance Stage 1 for Buick 350. And notice how the intake ports are one giant hole. So what that does is in a dual plane, you have your left and your right side, and gives you longer runners. It's called a 180 degree manifold because it'll pull from this side and then it'll pull from this side later, whereas a single plane you'll have like 5 and 7 sitting side by side, and when 5's filling, 7 opens up and it starts taking away from cylinder 5. These are good and all, but the engine only runs on one side or the other. So your left side feeds 2 over here and 2 over here, and then the right side feeds underneath that. So at any one time, you're only running on half your carburetor. Whereas this is the dual port. This is 2 separate single plane intakes. If you look inside, you might be able to see the rear is higher than the front. We have a divided port. So when you're driving along, you're barely in it, your front barrels come through here. So you have like a third of the size of your secondaries. So this thing, being that the ports are so small, the velocity is increased dramatically. So whenever the piston reaches top or bottom dead center on the intake and you have your overlap before your valve closes, you have so much velocity that it packs the cylinder real well. But when you need to pass someone, as soon as those rear barrels open, air comes to both of them. Now Offenhauser says that since this is so fast, when this secondary opens up, it meets this, it starts a tumble effect and it mixes the fluid a whole lot better. Shit, I bought this 2005, so it's $235 back then. Now they're like $780, and that one's like $830. It's hard to believe that's $1,600 worth of intake sitting on this hood. Some guy in Houston, I went to buy that because I have a Buick 350 that I was going to put in here, and but I want the Commando front hood. I didn't feel like jacking with any of it, so I went down to Houston. Guy said he had this 350 down there for $400, and I saw that aluminum intake. I was like, ooh. So I went ahead and drove down there, and I asked him if it was in water. No, it's been stored inside, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. So I cracked the head open to load it in the back of the car, and all 8 cylinders, water just spilled out everywhere. Oh, I'm sorry, you can just have it. I'm like, yeah, right. Well, once I saw that stage 1 and then the name on the back, I knew exactly what it was, a TA Performance. It was given to him because Hurricane Harvey, the guy had a Buick GS down there. And it got flooded, so he pulled the engine out and replaced it. Gave it to his friend. His friend was trying to scam and get some money. However, I gave him $100. He didn't know what I walked away with. But back to this is what's going in the Jeep. So when you're cruising around, you're going to be on your front barrels most of the time. That's where you're getting most of your torque and fuel savings, because not a lot of air sips through here. And whatever does get rammed in the cylinder for added low-end grunt, so you can pull your foot out of it save some gas. Now this was designed for the old odd fire, and so the port was smaller, but I'm putting it on an even fire. So I went in and ported this out to match the intake for the even fire head, the 79 and later tall port. So that should give this Jeep a little more pep. I think I'm gonna go back and port a little more in here, make it more straight line. But I haven't dealt with this. I ported this in 05 when I bought it, and it's been sitting. It's been through hurricane in Florida, a couple of them, severe floods down here in Texas this year, and I'm finally gonna get to use it. Clean it up, put it on there with that 400 and the Comp 260. It should do real well, I'm thinking. And with the nv4500, which is over here on a shelf, we come over here. I've got to clean it up. We rebuilt it almost 3 years ago. It's been sitting, but it's the early Chevy model. So the snout input gears are the same as the SM465, 420, and the only thing is the bolt